Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of my Dungeon Boss campaign series. I have recently hit level 55, opened up the final chapter of our normal campaign, so we are nearing the end of these first series of videos, which not many people are actually watching. But we are going to now start in on chapter 21 in normal. This chapter has 10 different dungeons in it, so it's going to take us a couple of videos to get through. We'll probably go with something like a 4, 4, and a 2. If they go pretty fast, we'll go a 5 and a 5, but many of my heroes are under-leveled and under-runed, so we're basically coming at this similar to what it was the very first time we actually beat it with the main account before runes and when the level cap was only level 50. So we're going to start out with Dread Wastes. We have a predominantly red dungeon, which means we're going to bring a blue hero for the most part. We do have a tank that is a green tank at the end, so having excessive water heroes is a little bit much, so we want to try and be a little bit diverse if we can. So ideally, if we can bring red to take him out, and then water to take out the red, that's the best case scenario. Because the dungeon itself is red, I'm going to choose to bring Yasmin as my healer. I'm largely going to go with my power team as usual. I am going to put Yasmin first, just in the event that I need to put up a shield somewhere. We're going to bring Nimriel to handle that tank at the very end. And then it's just a mixture of two other people. We could either bring in Koros to help with the end, or we can bring in Ponti. My preference is I'm going to bring Grognog for sure. I'm actually going to switch him first, then Nimriel, and then Ponti. I'll leave Koros for another battle, but we will circle back to him eventually. We will ultimately need to cycle in a few more heroes probably to get through this chapter. I'm guessing we'll bring in Nub Nub and possibly Bulbus, Viperia, and Lily as well as we get through the final chapters here, or the final dungeons rather. Alright, so let's fire this up here, and we'll start taking things out. The worst enemies in this dungeon, I think, honestly, are going to be those little red fire spirits, because I think they're going to cast that little firestorm thing that's going to burn me, which I don't have a lot of extended heals like with Nub Nub, so we're hoping that Grognog takes them out pretty much by himself. Keep in mind, my runes are adequate at best for these guys. I have very, very, very few improved runes because I have not been going through challenge mode. As you will notice by the videos, we have not gotten very far in challenge mode. Looking to finish the regular campaign before we get too much into challenge mode, just so that we separate out the videos a little bit. So you can see Yasmin's under-leveled, and then Nimriel's 56, Ponti and Grognog are both 55, so right around that appropriate level. With the runes that they do have, it does make it easier than what it was the first time around, compared to, over a year ago. But there's always going to be potential for disaster here. Most likely when the boss fight comes around, that's when things will get a little bit challenging with the two water heroes going against that nature tank. That might be something, but I think honestly Nimriel can handle those. I forgot that those little spirits were undead, so Yasmin really beats some guys pretty good. Mostly with this dungeon here, I'm just focusing on making sure I kill as many people as possible, rather than trying to spread things out and expect the next person to kill it. You don't want any of these people just doing damage, so anytime you can get a kill shot in there, I just take that advantage and go with it, and then we'll deal with other fights afterwards. So largely it was a very easy dungeon up to this point, so I think we'll get through these first couple of dungeons probably with this power team, unless we run into something that's a little bit more nature based. Then we'll get Koros in there. Alright, so we use Yasmin on those guys, which is good. Grognog has not replenished his energy yet. That shows you how fast of a dungeon it was. And let's get some daze on this guy first. He might be immune to daze, or it might not affect him, but it's ultimately good to have. He might have like perfect swing or something. So realistically, waiting till 55 to do this chapter probably wasn't necessary. with the way the runes come out, obviously there's people that probably could have beaten this chapter, probably at the late 40s pretty easily if they really grind out PvP runes. Doing this at level with a couple of runes that I have, this was very, very easy. Much easier than I expected it to be. I expected, since the game was locking me out of this chapter, that it was going to be somewhat of a challenge. But ultimately, this one was not a challenge. Give myself a nice lesser rune with 1 stat on it, so basically garbage. But honestly, that's probably one of the best runes I have, is a 3-star rune. I do have some decent ones on these guys, but not great ones. Alright, so let's do Corrupted Caverns. This one is not elementally advantaged or disadvantaged. We do have to deal with the assassins. I guess technically we have an elemental disadvantage against these little guys here. Lotus, Chunin. We'll keep the same team, just actually, no, I'm going to switch to Nub Nub instead. Get a nice little rainbow team here. This should be a good variety here. Using Nimriel instead of Koros is sort of just I guess it's a personal preference. She has a lot higher single target damage, at least for me right now, because she's a 5-star hero. And her skills are single target attacks, so they're going to do good damage against these little ninja girls here. I'm not saying Koros wouldn't do well himself, but my Koros is unascended, so he's always been kind of playing second fiddle to other people. He's losing his effectiveness in PvP by the day, but honestly, so is everybody else. So my PvP days are not very well on this account anymore, and honestly, I don't even hardly do it anymore. But you can hear all about that when we do the level 55 check-in. Alright, just because of the sheer volume of people here, I'm going to go ahead and use Strike. And hopefully he doesn't kill everybody. He shouldn't kill the green ninjas. Because I do want to... I want to get Nub Nub to heal, but apparently, unless one of these guys can dodge, that's going to be another time. So I probably should have healed here, but I guess I don't have a heal. Usually I bring in a health potion, but it's looking like I'm going to be using the revive on this one because Blackhand Matriarch's probably going to kill Nimriel. I see that happening. Or she killed Grognog. Oh my. I was not expecting that. I didn't realize her assassinate was the same as Black Diamond's. Alright, so we need to take stock here. So I only have 1 resurrect, so that's going to go to Grognog. I should have a friend out here somewhere that can revive, so Mr. Turtle here. So we should at least be able to get a 3-star, provided these guys can do their thing. So we're going to start with Grognog, slow them down. Plus, he's one of my hardest hitters. Should be good enough. This should almost take care of her altogether. There we go. And then I think Ponty will be good for cleanup duty. And then, honestly, Nub Nub will heal. Should save me from these gals here, even if they choose to do their little crit double attack. It doesn't matter, so... A little bit of bad luck with those assassinations there, but ultimately we got by it. No worse for the wear, so still got through 2 dungeons in less than 10 minutes, which isn't bad. So here we go, next dungeon. Witherbloom has, looks like... Nature's going to be good for this one because of those blue guys. That also means that blue ones are good for us as well, so we can take water heroes and there's not really a disadvantage there. I do know that this guy here, this Deep Winds Lord, is pretty tough, at least in challenge mode he is. He's kind of a nuisance. Lalana tier, she's probably not anything significant. So, in terms of healers, to prevent my healer from dying, I will bring along Nub Nub for sure. And then what I will do is I'm going to swap out... Nimriel, And I'm going to bring in, let's see here. Lily is unascended, so I don't know if she's going to be helpful. She might be. I'm going to bring in Viperia instead. Viperia is a pretty hard hitter. I'm going to go back out and make sure she at least has a couple of junk runes and make sure she's level 56, just for the sake of doing it. So we'll go ahead and she's got a couple of runes on her, so that's good. I have used her in PvP from time to time, so let's just bump up her level a little bit. And she should be able to take out anybody. And upgrade these abilities. Too bad I couldn't ascend her as well. That would have been nice to have just a couple little extra stats. Alright, let's head back out here. See if we can get this one in before 15 minutes. Keep it to under 5 per. So we will put Viperia there. And I think just go with a mixture here. Never know when you're going to need either. Especially when we get to those spots where you know you're going to kill the dungeon before Nub Nub gets to heal. Having that health potion and it would have saved me last time, I think. Even though that woman did pretty much kill Grognog with full health, I think. So what sucks here is this dungeon almost always starts out with these champion level bosses right in the first room. So we're going to unload everything we got on them. And they sort of just shrugged it off, didn't they? At least they have the no ability to crit, which will be helpful, but as long as they don't have Savage Fury, which it doesn't look like they do. If they were true Sume clones, they would have Savage Fury, and this would be an ugly, ugly fight. Might still end up being ugly. I'm going to throw my heals out here just so I'm not dead going into the next room. At least we survived that without too much trouble. Of course, Grognog couldn't kill one of them just outright, but I think we're going to be alright here. Or maybe not. There we go. Alright, the next couple of rooms should be much more manageable in my opinion. Usually it's just those first two they cause problems. Now we should be back to regular enemies. Unfortunately though, we've used all of our skills, so now we're kind of at the whim of our energy potions, or we just kind of slow play it, get our energy back, and prep for the boss fight. Which for the most part we should be okay. These guys don't have elemental advantage on anybody, but I guess Ponty is kind of weak. That was very close with Grognog. He may have very well went down to like 1 health point. That was pretty scary. It also makes me wonder what's in store for me for the boss fight too. If a normal stage level grunt can give him the business. Right, so if I get any skills up, which I don't think any are going to be up yet, the cooldown on both Ponty and Viperia is pretty high, so kill this guy for sure. I don't want those guys doing pot shots on Grognog again, which he probably still will. We'll give him just a little bit of evasion. If they go after Ponty, though, he's dead too, unfortunately. We managed, though. Alright, so we're in prime position here now. Most of our stuff should come off of cooldown after this room. We should be right in the thick of it for the boss fight and be able to unleash a bunch of skills here, including our heals. All I have to do is determine if I want to have my heals going into the boss room or wait until the end of the first turn in the boss room, which I guess it doesn't matter anyways now because I couldn't get one more turn out of Nub Nub. But we're also going to get our stout defense too, so we might go with that first. We'll see what Lalana Tur does here. And we got those guys back again. We'll slow him down. That'll at least give Nub Nub a chance to do his thing. Give us some defense. I'll probably use a friend hero here as well, just for the sake of doing so. There's no point in risking our 3-star win. So I wanted to use stout defense, but it's looking like I might have to heal unless I just kill everybody here. I'm gonna save that Kozar for the final battle. So let's see if I got anybody else that's not on cooldown here. It's gonna have to be Cobalt. Depending on who Cobalt kills, if any, will determine if I'm gonna go heals or defense. I have to heal. It's the safest thing to do at this point here. Armor break, that's a bad one. If he wasn't diseased, that armor break is awful. Kills a lot of people a lot of times. Happens a lot in Boss Island when I run Savage Grove. That armor break kills Zerk all the time. If you get a first room that has several of the green titans, Zerk dies all the time for me. Alright, so this was a little bit slower dungeon, so we're going to do one more, and then we will wrap it up with this first video here. Largely unscathed again, though. It is getting tougher. We can definitely tell it's escalating, but still manageable by any stretch. Alright, so Scarred Lands. Couple of elves, couple of little undead guys. Should be very manageable for what we're running. We're going to swap out our healers. We are going to bring in Koros, the heavy hitter, and we're going to bring in Yasmin. And then we will keep with the same potion loadout. I don't see any problem with that. Although I'm thinking about, because of the kill order, I want to make sure Yasmin gets to go first. Just so we don't have any situations like Nub Nub where other people are killing and I don't get a chance to get heals in. Being that I don't have the perpetual heals that Nub Nub has, I need to be able to selectively target my heals and actually have a turn to do that. So here we go. None of the enemies should be fast, so we should be in very good position. Go ahead and get started off on a good foot here with Grognog. He can use that strike ability and just recharge it through the rest of this dungeon, and then we'll be good for the boss room. I think this one's going to go really well because there's no really glaring mismatches for me with the team that I have. Ideally, we should probably have a taunter out here as well. We're not going to use a taunter for a bit yet, not until we get to the final battle. When we fight the root of all evil, we'll use a taunter there. Alright, let's see if Koros can one-shot, which he cannot. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. If he would have had that on Nub Nub, he probably would have killed him. That's some pretty serious stuff. Treasure room, so it's actually only a 4-room dungeon. Get ourselves some Lupina tokens, maybe. Or just like 1,000 gold, if that. It's pretty weak. Alright, a bunch more of those exhausting blows, guys. I don't think I can handle every single one of them. I'm going to be strong-armed into using an ability here, so we're going to spread out the damage here a little bit. or Grognog just does that. We pretty much have to kill these guys because they will. If two of those guys attack Yasmin, she was gonna die, and I'm just not gonna have any of that. So we'll take the energy loss on Ponty. He's still got his Doom Bolt, so or Gravedigger, not Doom Bolt. Doom Bolt is way better than Gravedigger. All right, this here should be a pretty mismatch fight in my favor. Should be. I should have used the energy potion on Grognog and he would have wiped them guys pretty good. She doesn't have a chance. I stand corrected. She has a small chance. Lots of burn going on. That bothers me. We'll heal through it. Shouldn't be a problem. Use an energy potion. I'm not gonna take any chances. Grognog will laugh at these guys. There's no way she survives Grognog. She could survive Koros, but she's not gonna survive Grognog. Alright. So 4 dungeons, just over 21 minutes. Not too bad. We're going to wrap up this video here, and then we will do the next probably 4 dungeons of Chapter 10, and then we will wrap up the final bit of Chapter 10 in one last video. So we'll see how that goes. Stick around. We'll have that one shortly. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. If you like this video, please show your continued support by hitting that like button, and be sure to check out both my YouTube channels for new content all the time. And always remember, peace is a lie, there's only passion. We'll see you next time.